Hey everyone, today we're going way back, millions of years to a time when our story really began.
Life in the trees was the name of the game for our earliest relatives. They were masters of this arboreal world. But the Earth is always changing, and so were the climates. What was once endless forest started to stir. Imagine stepping out of your comfort zone. For some, this meant occasionally venturing down from the trees. The forest floor offered new opportunities for food, but it was also a much more exposed environment.
Standing tall, even for a moment, offered a huge advantage. Suddenly, you could spot things over the tall grass. As the forests continued to recede, our ancestors found themselves looking out at a whole new world.
Meet some of our earliest true bipeds, like the famous Lucy. They weren't just standing occasionally, they were walking upright, navigating these new open spaces.
Walking on two legs freed up their hands, which meant they could carry things, gather more food, and suddenly, and we even have direct evidence of this upright stride. Fossilized footprints left millions of years ago. Life on the open savanna wasn't just about finding food. It was also about avoiding becoming food. In this new world, safety often came in numbers. Sticking together and using simple deterrents became crucial for survival. With changing environments came new dietary opportunities. Our ancestors started noticing that bigger predators often left behind some tasty scraps. Those bones, they weren't just trash. Inside was nutrient-rich marrow, but getting to it was the challenge. This sparked an idea.
Meanwhile, another branch of our family tree, the Paranthropus, was taking a different route.
While our direct ancestors were adapting to more varied diets, Paranthropus stuck to a highly specialized vegetarian menu.
But then, something truly groundbreaking happened. Enter Homo habilis, the handyman.
These weren't fancy, but these Oldowan tools were revolutionary. A sharp edge meant access to a whole new world of food. Now those bones weren't so tough. With a sharp stone, they could process carcasses more efficiently, getting to that rich marrow and meat.
This new intelligence, this ability to craft tools, fueled another incredible change. Our brains started to get bigger.
And this knowledge wasn't just individual, it was shared. Learning from each other meant skills could spread, accelerating innovation. Having a central home base, even a temporary one, allowed for more complex social structures and division of labor. But the environment was always a challenge. Periods of drought pushed our ancestors to be even more resourceful, to adapt or perish. Out of these challenges came a new species, an absolute game changer, Homo erectus. Taller. And these guys weren't just making simple choppers. They were crafting these incredible, symmetrical hand axes.
The hand axe was their ultimate multi-tool. It could cut, scrape, dig, and probably even defend. It was indispensable.
Then came arguably the biggest breakthrough, the control of fire. This wasn't just staying warm, this was a complete transformation. Cooking food meant more nutrients, easier digestion, and seriously, who doesn't love a good cooked meal? It literally fueled bigger brains. Fire also kept predators away at night and created a social hub, a place for warmth, safety, and storytelling. With bigger brains came longer childhoods, more time for learning, more time for skills to be passed down, building generations of knowledge.
They were also incredible endurance runners. Imagine chasing down prey for miles, exhausting it until it couldn't.
This wasn't about speed, it was about stamina. Persistence hunting allowed them to take down much larger animals. And then, the impossible happened. They weren't just staying in Africa, they were leaving. They crossed land bridges, navigated new territories, pushing the boundaries of what was known, driven by curiosity and the search for resources. From Africa, they spread into Asia, adapting to entirely new climates and challenges. These were true pioneers. In places like Asia, they learned to use local materials, like bamboo, showcasing their incredible adaptability to new surroundings.
They weren't just sleeping under the stars anymore. Simple shelters offered protection from the elements and a safer place to rest.
And here's where we start to see something profound. evidence of caring for the sick or injured. Not just
Communication was evolving too. More complex gestures and sounds meant they could share more intricate plans, coordinate hunts, and build stronger communities.
hunting became a team sport. Working together, they could take down bigger, more dangerous prey, bringing in more food for everyone. Their diet was incredibly versatile. From meat to plants, they were masters of finding and preparing food in almost any environment.
Believe it or not, some even crossed water. Lower sea levels sometimes created shorter gaps, allowing them to island hop into new territories.
And so, Homo erectus made it all the way to Southeast Asia, adapting to tropical jungles, and in China, we find amazing evidence of Homo erectus living in caves, mastering fire, and even showing early signs of symbolic thought. This incredible journey, these new skills, they all fed back into one thing. Our brains kept growing, getting bigger and more complex.
Those beautiful hand axes? They weren't just tools. Some think they were also a way to show off skill.
But the Earth's climate was never static. The first hints of the coming ice ages began to shape their world. Colder weather meant they needed better clothes and better fires. Learning to manage the cold was a massive survival challenge.
With better tools and better cooperation, they started taking on seriously big game. Like early mammoths or
Remember our chewing cousins, Paranthropus? While Homo erectus thrived, their dietary specialization.
Homo erectus was a true success story. Master toolmakers, fire users, and the first global travelers. They literally paved the way for us.
Emergence. As Homo erectus populations spread, they evolved. In some regions, a new species began to emerge.
These guys were even smarter toolmakers, perfecting the level watt technique, allowing them to create sharper, more precise tools, with less waste.
And they weren't just making flakes, they were attaching them to sticks. The invention of the spear was a massive leap for hunting.
Now, they weren't just scavenging or persistence hunting. With spears, they could actively confront and take down large, dangerous prey more directly. Their homes were getting better too. More complex shelters providing greater protection and a sense of permanence. Zilth. And here's another deep human trait appearing. Early evidence of ritual around death. Acknowledging loss, they continued to diversify their diet, even venturing into fishing and gathering shellfish, extracting resources from every possible environment.
The climate wasn't just changing, it was swinging wildly, with intense glacial periods pushing adaptation to its absolute limits.
Those who ventured into colder regions of Europe really had to bundle up and master fire to survive the harsh glacial winters.
This adaptable species was the common ancestor to some truly iconic hominins, the Neanderthals and the mysterious Denisovans.
As they adapted to the colder conditions of Ice Age Europe, the distinctive traits of Neanderthals began to solidify. Welcome to the world of the Neanderthals, masters of the Ice Age, built like tanks, and incredibly resourceful survivors.
They were fearless hunters, often getting up close and personal with massive Ice Age beasts, using powerful thrusting spears.
Their Mousterian tools were incredibly advanced, perfectly designed for specific tasks like scraping hides, cutting meat, or making shelters. Caves were their castles. They lived in them, decorated them with functional areas, and made them truly their own. Staying warm was a full-time job. They processed animal hides into sophisticated, tailored clothing.
Their diet was primarily meat, lots of it.
Despite their tough exterior, Neanderthals showed incredible compassion. They cared for their sick and elderly. They also had a symbolic side. Using pigments like ochre, they might have painted themselves, decorated objects, or performed rituals. And they buried their dead. These aren't just practical disposals. These are intentional acts, hinting at belief systems. Neanderthals lived in small, tight-knit family groups. Their survival depended on intense loyalty and cooperation within their clan. Meanwhile, far to the east, another cousin, the Denisovans, was also adapting to the Ice Age. We know
genetic evidence tells us both Neanderthals and Denisovans share a recent common ancestor, splitting off from the main lineage around the same time.
But back in Africa, something truly momentous was unfolding. Our own species, Homo sapiens, These early Homo sapiens weren't just anatomically modern. Their minds were buzzing with new ideas, new ways of doing things.
Forget those earlier hand axes. We were now making incredibly efficient, long, slender blades. More cutting edge, less material wasted.
And we weren't just limited to stone, bone, antler, ivory. If it could be shaped, we were making tools from it. And then came art. Not just functional marks, but abstract patterns, engravings, a desire to create and express beauty. We started decorating ourselves. Beads, pendants. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about...
Our social circles were expanding. Larger networks meant more sharing of resources, ideas, and crucially...
This was it. The second great exodus from Africa. Our ancestors began their...
Many followed the coastlines, a superhighway rich with marine resources, allowing them to spread rapidly across Asia.
As our ancestors spread into Europe and Asia, they met the Neanderthals. Imagine that first encounter.
And it wasn't always conflict. Genetic evidence shows that we actually interbred, carrying a little...
Neanderthals were incredible survivors, perfectly adapted to the brutally cold Ice Age. They were tough, while Neanderthals were specialists. We were generalists. Our adaptability, our ability to use Our journey continued northward, into the frozen tundras of Siberia. These weren't just new places. And to survive that cold, we perfected tailored clothing. With bone needles, we could sew furs into fit. In places without trees, we got creative, building entire houses out of mammoth bones. Talk about resourceful architecture.
Those beautiful hand axes? They weren't just tools. Some think they were also a way to show off skill.
Art wasn't just on cave walls. We carved small, portable figurines, carrying meaning and stories with us on our journeys. And then, the masterpieces. Incredible cave paintings at places like Lascaux and Chauvet. Capture spiritual beliefs were deeply ingrained. Shamanistic practices, rituals, and ceremonies connected them to the natural world and the spirit realm.
But arguably their most incredible journey was crossing open ocean to reach Australia. This required sophisticated seafaring and immense bravery.
Once there, they adapted to a completely alien landscape, interacting with incredible megafauna and developing unique aboriginal cultures. As Homo sapiens thrived, the Neanderthals faced increasing pressure, retreating to smaller, isolated refuges, their world shrinking. And then, tragically, after hundreds of thousands of years, the Neanderthals disappeared.
And then there was one. Homo sapiens stood alone, the last branch on an incredibly complex...
The last great frontier. The Americas. Our ancestors crossed the Bering Land Bridge, a frozen...
These were the first Americans, leaving behind their distinctive Clovis points, incredible spearheads designed for taking down megabeasts. From Alaska, they spread incredibly quickly, pushing south through the continent, adapting to every new ecosystem they encountered. Into the Amazon, up the Andes, they mastered every environment, developing unique cultures tied to their new homes. But their arrival often coincided with the disappearance of giant Ice Age animals. Whether by overhunting...
Around 12,000 years ago, the last ice age was really ending. The glaciers melted, the
warming brought new abundance. Forests returned, new animals appeared, and suddenly there was a lot more food to go around.
This new era, the Mesolithic, was all about variety. We weren't just big game hunters.
Tool technology kept advancing. We started making tiny, incredibly sharp microliths, which could be combined to make And then, the bow and arrow. This was a game changer for hunting. Silent, precise, and with abundant resources, we didn't have to move around as much. People started settling down, building more permanent homes. More food and settled living meant more people. Population densities started to grow, leading to larger communities.
Culture flourished, We see more diverse art, decorated objects, and personal items, a clear sign of rich symbolic lives.
Sailors. Into the Amazon, up the Andes, they mastered every environment, developing unique cultures tied to their...
But their arrival often coincided with the disappearance of giant Ice Age animals. Whether by overhunting, imagine entire fields of wild wheat and barley, just growing on their own. A ready-made feast, year after year. The Natufians in the Fertile Crescent were pioneers. They lived in permanent villages, harvesting huge amounts of wild grain.
Grinding those wild grains into flour was hard work, but it meant reliable food storage and the invention of early bread and porridges.
Storing all that grain required innovation. They dug out these clever storage pits, keeping their harvests safe for leaner times. But then, a shock. The Younger Dryas. A sudden, short return to Ice Age conditions. This cold snap put immense pressure on their food sources. Relying solely on wild grains became much riskier.
In this crisis, people started looking at those wild plants differently. What if we didn't just harvest them, but help them grow?
And there it was, the first deliberate sowing of seeds. Not just gathering, but planting. The birth of agriculture. This seemingly small act ignited the Neolithic Revolution, changing everything about how we lived, ate, and organized ourselves. We started selecting for the best traits, bigger seeds, and plants that held onto their grain instead of dropping it on the ground.
It wasn't just plants. We also began domesticating animals, goats and sheep first, for their meat, milk, and wool.
Imagine living in a village where houses were literally connected by rooftops. Places like Chatal.
Farming meant putting down roots, literally. Villages became permanent, and our lives became sedentary, tied to the land. With a stable food supply, populations absolutely exploded. More food meant more babies, and more babies meant bigger communities. As communities grew, people could specialize. Not everyone had to farm. Some became potters, weavers. Pottery was a game changer. Suddenly, we had durable containers for cooking, storing food and water, and keeping pests out of our grain. With domesticated animals came wool, and with plants came fibers. Weaving allowed us to create better clothes. But with more people and more stuff, differences started to emerge. Some gained more power, some more wealth. Communal storage and the redistribution of food were crucial. It ensured everyone had enough, but also concentrated power. Farming wasn't all good news. A narrower diet, closer living conditions, and hard labor meant early living close to animals and so many other people was a breeding ground for disease. Plagues became a part of human life, and our impact on the environment grew. Clearing forests for fields led to deforestation and early signs of soil erosion. But agriculture was too powerful to stay in one place. It slowly but surely spread, carried by might. In Europe, the first farmers brought with them longhouses and a new way of life, slowly transforming the continent. But agriculture wasn't just a Middle Eastern invention. In China, people independently domesticated rice, another staple that would feed billions. And across the ocean, in Mesoamerica, a truly incredible transformation occurred. The domestication of maize. In the high Andes, another staple was born, the potato. A hardy crop that sustained population. As we mastered manipulating the earth, we stumbled upon something new, metals. Copper was the first, extracted from rock with fire. These early copper tools were softer than stone, but they could be shaped, melted, and reused. And they looked pretty cool too. A true stroke of genius, the wheel. Initially used for pottery, it would revolutionize transport and technology. The warming brought new abundance. Forests returned, new animals appeared, and suddenly there was a lot more food to go around. More food than needed, that's a surplus. It sounds great, but it brought its own set of challenges and opportunities. Villages grew into towns, becoming centers of trade, craft, and an increasingly complex social life. Trade connected communities. Rare materials, valuable crafts, and new ideas began to travel across vast networks.
The plow, pulled by animals, was another farming superpower. It tilled more land, faster, leading to even bigger harvests.
While productive, agriculture often meant harder work and longer days than a foraging lifestyle. A trade-off for security. When you invest so much in land, the idea of ownership emerges. This created new forms of wealth, but also new potential for conflict. With more wealth and settled communities came a downside: conflict. Settlements began building defenses to protect their people and their resources. The struggle for resources, for land, and for power escalated into organized warfare. Then came the horse. Initially for meat or pulling, soon someone had a brilliant idea. What if I ride it? Horses transformed travel and communication, shrinking distances and connecting even more communities. Not everyone settled down. Pastoralists continued a nomadic life, moving their herds across vast. Animals weren't just for meat anymore. Milk, wool, pulling power, this secondary products revolution opened up entirely new resources and industries. And then came the monuments. Massive stone structures, built with incredible effort and planning. As societies grew, so did our understanding of the divine. Early temples and ceremonial spaces, larger populations and organized labor led to the rise of chiefdoms and early states. Power became more centralized, leadership more formal. Then came a new revolution, the Bronze Age. Mixing copper with tin created bronze, a metal far stronger and more versatile than pure copper. Bronze was a game changer. Stronger, sharper tools and weapons made everything from farming to warfare more effective. It literally defined an era.
Sadly, superior weapons often meant more devastating warfare. Bronze swords and spears changed.
Tetralus. The ingredients for bronze, copper and tin, were rarely found together. This spurred them vast trade networks.
The fertile river valleys of Mesopotamia gave rise to something unprecedented: the first true cities, complex chits. Within these cities, social classes became starkly defined: rulers, priests, soldiers, craftsmen. And then, the ultimate communication breakthrough: writing. Cuneiform, etched into clay, allowed us. With writing came bureaucracy. Empires needed to manage taxes, armies, and vast resources, and writing made it all possible. Writing also fueled science. Mathematics, astronomy, ancient minds were charting the stars and solving. And with complex societies came complex laws. Hammurabi's code was one of the earliest, defining justice and order in a new way. With organized labor and vast resources, we began building colossal monuments, ziggurats, reeds. In Egypt, the life-giving Nile nurtured another incredible civilization. With its own unique culture, their own elegant system of writing, hieroglyphs, told stories on temple walls and papyrus scrolls, preserving their history for millennia. Pharaohs ruled as divine kings, absolute monarchs who connected the earthly realm with the gods themselves. Their elaborate rituals around death, like mummification, show a deep belief in an eternal afterlife and the journey of the soul. In the Indus Valley, another advanced civilization built massive, meticulously planned cities with incredible urban Their writing, unlike others, remains undeciphered, a tantalizing mystery that still holds the secrets of this lost civilization. In China, the Shang dynasty rose, known for their stunning bronze work, sophisticated writing. These oracle bones were used for divination, and their inscriptions represent the earliest form of Chinese writing. But this golden age of bronze suddenly collapsed. A mysterious force, the Sea Peoples, swept across the Mediterranean. This wasn't just a blip, it was a dark age. Trade networks crumbled, writing disappeared in some places, and societies had to rebuild from scratch. But from the ashes of the Bronze Age, a new metal emerged: iron. Tougher than bronze, and its ore was far more abundant. Amidst the rebuilding, a genius invention: the Phoenician alphabet. A simple, phonetic system that In the Mediterranean, new powers rose. The Greek city-states, with their unique forms of governance and intellect.
They even invented the Olympics, a celebration of athletic achievement, uniting the diverse Greek city-states, at least for a little while.
But the Greeks gave us something even more profound: philosophy. Questioning everything, seeking
In Athens, they experimented with a radical idea: democracy. Citizens had a say in their own governance. Revolutionary stuff.
But across Asia, another colossal power was rising: the Persian Empire. The first true global. Then came Alexander the Great, conquering the known world, spreading Greek culture and creating a vast Hellenistic empire that reshaped civilizations. In India, the Mauryan Empire unified vast regions and under Emperor Ashoka embraced Buddhism. And in China, the Qin dynasty brutally unified the warring states, building the foundations of the Great Wall. And
meanwhile, a small city on 7 hills began its ascent: Rome. First as a republic, with its powerful senate and legions.
The Romans were master engineers. Their roads, aqueducts, and magnificent buildings connected and sustained an ever-growing empire.
For centuries, the Pax Romana brought unprecedented peace and stability across a vast empire, allowing trade and culture to flourish.
Within the Roman Empire, a revolutionary new religion began to spread: Christianity. Starting small,
and in Mesoamerica, the Maya developed an incredibly sophisticated civilization. Advanced mathematics, their complex hieroglyphic writing, and incredibly accurate calendars reveal a deep understanding of time and the cosmos. But even the mightiest empires eventually crumble. Internal strife, external pressures, and climate change all
The grand Roman Empire, once seemingly eternal, finally fell in the West. Not with a bang.
After Rome, Europe fragmented. Kingdoms rose and fell, and the continent entered a pestius. But the Eastern Roman Empire, known as Byzantium, continued to flourish, preserving Roman law and Greek learning. In the West, monasteries became vital centers of learning, preserving ancient texts and quietly keep. In Britain, the Anglo-Saxons established their kingdoms, laying the foundations for the English language and much of its early culture. Islam sparked an incredible golden age, where scholars preserved ancient Greek knowledge, made groundbreaking advances. From Arabia, Islamic empires rapidly expanded, creating a vast network of trade, knowledge, slits. South of the Sahara, powerful African kingdoms like Ghana and Mali grew rich from the gold and salt trade. These kingdoms were connected by the epic trans-Saharan trade routes, where camel caravans crisscrossed the desert, carrying immense wealth and ideas. In Europe, Charlemagne briefly united much of the West, fostering a Carolingian Renaissance and laying the.
But new threats also emerged. The Vikings, fierce raiders and intrepid explorers,
Castles became the ultimate.
And our ancestors weren't just using tools. They were improving them, showing a real knack for craftsmanship.
Hunting became more coordinated. A true team effort that allowed them to take down bigger prey.
Sharing food wasn't just generous. It built stronger social bonds within the group. Their brains continued to expand, a crucial development that fueled their growing intelligence. Knowledge wasn't just discovered, it was passed down, generation to generation.
And these early humans were explorers, beginning their incredible journey out of Africa.
The Out of Africa story begins here, with Homo erectus venturing into new continents. New lands meant new challenges, but also new opportunities for food and resources. As they moved into cooler regions, they innovated with clothing, a vital adaptation. They found ways to thrive, establishing themselves in diverse environments across the globe. Shelter became more sophisticated, offering protection from the elements and predators, showing a real knack for craftsmanship. Fire wasn't just for warmth, it was a tool, allowing them to refine their hunting weapons. Their camps grew, beacons of light in the vast, wild night. The Acheulean toolkit became incredibly consistent, showing a shared understanding of design and purpose.
This wasn't just random chipping. It was a skilled craft, passed down through observation.
Their lives were busy, a complex dance of survival, innovation, and cooperation.
They faced incredible environmental obstacles, yet they always found a way to adapt.
Their footsteps echoed across the continents, leaving an indelible mark on Earth's history. Over vast stretches of time, Homo erectus diversified, leading to regional variations. In Asia, we see fascinating examples like Homo erectus pekingensis, uniquely adapted to their environment.
Fossils like these from Zalcudian caves tell us so much about their existence.
Caves became more than just shelter. They were homes, centers of community.
They were keen observers of their world, learning the rhythms of nature to survive.
River valleys were prime locations, offering water, food, and strategic vantage points.
Their faces, too, were changing, reflecting the evolutionary pressures they faced. They were even venturing across water, perhaps using rudimentary rafts or fallen logs. The dexterity of their hands was remarkable, essential for their advanced tool-making. There's evidence of compassion, caring for the sick and injured, hinting at deeper social bonds. Hunting was an incredible display of teamwork, strategy, and sheer strength.
From Africa to Asia, their fossil record is spread wide, a testament to their success.
Their skeletons tell a story of powerful, robust individuals, different yet clearly human. Communication wasn't just practical. It was about sharing stories, wisdom, and culture. Their toolkit diversified, each tool perfectly suited for a specific task.
Family was at the heart of their society, where the next generation learned and grew.
They were strategists, planning their movements and hunts with foresight.
Look into their eyes, and you see the glimmer of intelligence, of burgeoning consciousness.
For nearly 2 million years, Homo erectus dominated the Earth, an astonishingly long run.
But evolution never stops. From this successful lineage, new forms began to emerge.
Meet Homo heidelbergensis, a transitional species, arising in Africa. They refined tool-making even further with the Levallois technique, a real leap in precision. Their hunting strategies were more advanced, capable of tackling larger, more dangerous game. Homo heidelbergensis also ventured out of Africa, reaching parts of Europe. Their migrations extended their reach into new, often colder, territories. Their skulls show distinct features, a blend of ancient and more modern traits. Social structures continued to strengthen, with communal living and sharing becoming central. And perhaps the first glimmers of symbolic thought began to emerge in their cave dwellings. They built more complex shelters, adapting to harsher European climates. The discovery of these wooden spears in Germany proves their incredible craftsmanship with wood.
They were expert hunters, employing throwing spears for greater reach and safety.
As ice ages descended, they learned to survive in increasingly challenging, glacial environments.
Heavy furs became essential for protection against the intense cold.
Mastery of fire was crucial, providing warmth, cooking, and a social hub. They painstakingly prepared hides, not just for clothing, but for shelter and coverings. Butchering became an art, maximizing every part of their hunt. Their brains continued to grow, paving the way for more complex thought.
They adapted to incredibly varied, and sometimes harsh European landscapes.
Their teeth and jaws reveal a diet that was still tough, requiring strong chewing.
Knowledge of the natural world was crucial, passed down through careful teaching.
They moved through their territories with caution, always aware of dangers and opportunities.
These camps were bustling hubs of activity, the heart of their community.
And it's from Homo heidelbergensis in Europe that the Neanderthals would emerge.
A distinct path was forged, adapting to the unique pressures of the European Ice Age.
Here they are, the Neanderthals, perfectly engineered for a glacial world.
Their tools, like this Mousterian point, were incredibly effective, a testament to their skill. They were formidable hunters, capable of taking down enormous Ice Age megafauna. Their caves were true homes, providing shelter and a central gathering place. Their distinctive features, like that broad nose, were adaptations to cold, dry air. Fire wasn't just useful, it was life itself in the brutal Ice Age winters.
They were masters of insulation, crafting effective clothing from animal hides.
Their compassion is often overlooked. They cared deeply for their sick and elderly. They were incredibly resilient, a testament to the power of adaptation. The return from a successful hunt was a shared victory, ensuring the survival of the group. They were spread across Europe and parts of Western Asia, perfectly adapted to their range.
There's growing evidence they engaged in symbolic thought, leaving their mark in subtle ways.
Some burials suggest ritual, indicating a sense of loss and perhaps belief in an afterlife. Personal adornment, like this pendant, points to a sense of identity and self-expression.
Their communication, though perhaps different from ours, was rich and effective. Children were integral, learning vital survival skills from their elders.
They weren't just Ice Age specialists. They adapted to warmer interglacial periods too. While Neanderthals thrived in Europe, a new story was unfolding elsewhere. Because back in Africa, our own lineage, Homo sapiens, was beginning to take shape.
Meet the first anatomically modern humans, our direct ancestors, born in Africa.
And with them came an explosion of social complexity and advanced communication. As our brains continued to evolve, so did our understanding of something even bigger than ourselves, the great mystery of life and death. We started leaving behind more than just tools. We left symbols, whispers of our inner worlds etched into stone and bone. Hunting became a team sport, requiring incredible coordination and communication, a testament to our growing social intelligence. And at the end of a long day, sharing food around a fire wasn't just about survival. It was about connection, family, and storytelling. Knowledge wasn't just discovered, it was passed down. each generation building on the last, learning and adapting. Our wanderlust kicked in, pushing us across vast landscapes, even venturing into new continents, driven by an insatiable curiosity. Every new territory brought new challenges, new discoveries, and a deeper understanding of the world's incredible pantry.
And what better way to pass on knowledge, or simply entertain, than a good story told under the stars?
We didn't just have rhythm in our steps. We started making music, turning bones and reeds into ancient instruments.
From tools to tunes, and eventually to movement. Celebrating life.
The stars weren't just pretty lights. They were our ancient GPS, guiding us across vast, uncharted territories.
From simple hides, we learned to weave, creating new ways to carry, to protect, and to adorn. The rivers and seas offered a whole new bounty, teaching us patience and cleverness in harvesting their riches. We weren't just surviving, we were thriving, connecting with other groups, and learning the art of exchange.
And as we moved into colder climes, we adapted, turning animal skins into the ultimate winter fashion.
Even in harsh times, childhood remained a time for play, for imagination, for simply being.
Fire wasn't just for cooking. It was our shield against the cold, our beacon in the dark, our gathering point.
Understanding the rhythms of nature, like the great animal migrations, was key to our survival. A seasonal calendar written in hooves.
We started to express ourselves not just through art, but through our appearance, adorning ourselves with nature's treasures. From caves to crude constructions, we learned to build, creating havens from the elements, temporary homes. As we grappled with illness and uncertainty, spiritual guides emerged, seeking meaning and healing beyond the visible.
Our art expanded to include ourselves, capturing our stories, our dances, our very essence on stone canvases.
Big decisions weren't just for one. They were for the group, a collective wisdom guiding our journey forward.
We learned to harness fire not just for warmth, but as a tool to shape our environment, to cultivate the land. From crude hide blankets to tailored clothing, the humble needle revolutionized how we dressed, how we survived. One tool for every job? We were getting there, inventing specialized instruments to make life a little easier, a lot more efficient. Water was life, and our camps often clustered near its source, our communities growing with the flow.
From raw to roasted, our culinary skills were advancing, unlocking new nutrients, new flavors.
Every step we took left a mark, telling a silent story of our long journey across the globe. As groups grew, so did the need for boundaries, for understanding where one's home ended and another's began.
But boundaries didn't stop us from coming together, sharing in the triumphs, the bounty, the joy of being human.
We didn't just throw spears, we innovated, creating tools like the atlatl to give us an edge, making hunting safer and more effective. The ocean's edge offered a whole new world of resources, teaching us to live by the tides, to harvest the sea's bounty. Tiny hooks, huge impact. These little innovations opened up a whole new source of protein from the depths. And to conquer the water, we built. The first boats weren't just transport, they were a symbol of our growing ingenuity. Soon, no body of water was too wide, no island too far. We were becoming masters of the watery world. Beyond animals and figures, our art began to explore pure form, patterns that might have held deeper, mystical meanings. Not every hunt was for giant beasts. Sometimes, ingenuity and patience with smaller game kept our communities fed. We were learning about balance, understanding that to take everything today meant nothing for tomorrow. The grand migration continued, our species spreading its wings across every habitable corner of the planet. The spear thrower was good, but the bow and arrow? That was a game changer, revolutionizing how we hunted and defended. Precision, power, distance, the bow and arrow wasn't just a weapon. It was an extension of our ambition. And those arrowheads. Miniature masterpieces, each one a testament to skill, patience, and deadly effectiveness. Even the harsh deserts couldn't stop us. We learned to read the land, to find life hidden beneath the dry surface. But as resources grew scarce or territories overlapped, so did the potential for conflict, a challenging part of our social evolution. From the earth, we drew our colors, painting not just on walls, but perhaps on our bodies, our tools, our very existence. Our presence began to subtly reshape the land around us, preparing the ground for an even bigger transformation. Our artistic urges weren't just flat. We started shaping the world, turning raw materials into tangible forms of belief and beauty.
Grief was a shared burden, a powerful bond, reminding us of our deep emotional connections to one another.
Beyond simple grunts, our language became a symphony of sounds and gestures, capable of expressing complex thoughts and feelings.
Our diet was shifting, and our teeth tell the tale, a mix of hearty meat and adaptable plant-based foods keeping us well-nourished. We were still hunter-gatherers, but our gathering skills were getting next level, with a keen eye for nature's subtle offerings. Bigger projects meant bigger teamwork, hinting at the complex societies we were slowly, steadily building. Reading the weather, understanding the seasons, these weren't just curiosities.
Pottery wasn't just for cooking, it was a canvas where we began to express our flair for design.
The bond between human and animal deepened. The wolf became our first best friend, changing both our worlds forever. Our furry companions weren't just pets, they were partners, transforming our hunting strategies and success rates. From simple weaves to intricate patterns, our textiles became not just functional, but beautiful, a new form of self-expression. The bigger the challenge, the more ingenious our solutions. Complex nets meant bigger hauls, more food for growing communities. We looked to the stars not just for navigation, but for meaning, charting their movements, wondering about our place in the cosmos. From scorching deserts to icy tundras, we pushed the boundaries of habitability, always finding a way to thrive. Bone and antler weren't just waste, they were resources, transformed into tools of incredible precision and utility. Storing food meant security, freedom from the immediate hunt, and a buffer against the lean times. It was a game changer. Certain places held a special power for us, becoming sacred sites for reflection, for connection to something larger than ourselves.
Our world was getting more colorful, with natural dyes transforming our clothes and our skin into living canvases.
Rhythm was in our blood, and these early instruments brought our collective heartbeat to life, filling the air with sound.
From simple cuts to more complex ailments, we began to explore the healing power of nature, learning to soothe and to cure.
Even our everyday tools became works of art, imbued with personal meaning and a touch of individual flair.
The mountains presented a formidable challenge, but we were relentless, scaling heights, conquering new landscapes. Behind these eyes lay untold stories, boundless curiosity, and the spark of an intelligence that would change the world.
Fire wasn't just for cooking, it was a tool for gardening, helping us shape the landscape to our advantage, long before farms existed.
Even then, a little friendly competition was part of growing up, honing skills and forging bonds. Hunting wasn't always a chase. Sometimes it was a clever trap, requiring foresight and understanding of animal behavior. Our cave art became more sophisticated, capturing the thrill of the hunt, the raw energy of survival, in stunning detail. The cycle of seasons, the phases of the moon fete, we were tracking them, imbuing them with meaning, carving time itself. Our pantry was the planet itself, and we knew exactly where to find every edible root, berry, and leaf.
Different materials, different purposes. We were becoming masters of our environment, bending it to our will, one tool at a time.
Even the smallest treasures from nature became our jewels, worn for beauty, for status, for personal expression. The Ice Age pushed us to our limits, but even amidst the frozen giants, we found a way to not just survive, but to endure. Feasting wasn't just about eating, It was a communal effort, a shared task, a celebration of sustenance. The animal kingdom was our greatest teacher, showing us where to find food, how to move silently, how to survive. From simple adornments to more intricate styles, we began to decorate ourselves, expressing identity and status through our appearance. The cave was our sanctuary, and fire, our heart, keeping us warm, safe. As dawn broke, a new day's adventure began. The faint smoke signals a testament to our continued presence on this planet. No obstacle was too great when we worked together. Even rivers could be tamed with a little ingenuity and teamwork. We started counting, tracking, understanding the patterns around us. The first steps towards mathematics, maybe?
Knowledge was our most precious inheritance, passed from elder to child, ensuring the survival of the next generation. Art became a communal act, a shared expression of our stories, our beliefs, our collective soul.
From vast continents to isolated islands, we made ourselves at home, adapting to every unique environment with incredible resilience.
More than just survival, our capacity for empathy grew, binding us together with threads of compassion and understanding. Grinding tools revolutionized our diet, turning tough seeds into nourishing flowers, expanding our food options dramatically.
Beyond words, rhythm spoke volumes, carrying messages, uniting us in shared.
Swamps and wetlands, once barriers, became new hunting grounds, new sources of life, as we mastered every niche. Even then, a little self-care went a long way. Keeping clean wasn't just aesthetic, it was about health and well-being. Some animals held special power for us, revered, respected, their spirits woven into our beliefs and rituals. The forest was our home, our highway, our provider. We moved through it with a deep, inherent knowledge of its secrets. Sometimes, nature provided the perfect shelter, ready-made homes that offered protection and a vantage point.
Our hands spoke volumes, adding nuance and emphasis to every word, every story, every shared understanding.
The sun, the moon, the stars' voice, they taught us time, helping us predict, plan, and understand the rhythm of our lives. And so, our journey continued, always seeking, always adapting, always driven by that prime.
Even our everyday containers got a creative upgrade, turning simple gourds and bark into personalized pieces of art.
Fire wasn't just for warmth, it was a tool in itself, making our wooden spears tougher, sharper, more effective. Learning was observational, hands-on, a silent transfer of critical skills from one generation to the next.
Sometimes, the best strategy was invisibility, blending with nature, becoming one with the hunt.
Wood, too, became a canvas for our beliefs, carved into powerful symbols, totems of our connection to the spirit world. We were scientists, too, discovering natural glues to make our tools stronger, more reliable, ready for anything. The rivers themselves became our guides, their currents whispering tales of the easiest paths, the safest crossings. The seeds of a revolution were being sown, quite literally, as we began to understand the potential of cultivation. Being on the move meant portable homes, shelters we could pack up and take with us, always ready for the next journey. When distance separated us, fire became our messenger, sending smoke signals across the vast, silent landscapes.
New tools like the atlow gave us an edge, making our hunting incredibly more effective.
Fire wasn't just for warmth. It was our ultimate multi-tool, helping us craft and prepare. Adorning ourselves became important, a way to express identity and status. Our wanderlust took us to new lands, proving just how adaptable we truly were. Facing the cold was tough, but we learned to dress smart and keep each other warm. Navigating by stars and landmarks, we were the original explorers, pushing boundaries with every step. Imagine seeing a woolly mammoth. Our ancestors lived alongside these giants, a truly wild world.
Stories weren't just entertainment. They were our textbooks, passing down vital knowledge through generations.
Rhythm and sound brought us together, probably for celebration or just to feel connected. Mealtimes were communal, a chance to share not just food, but laughter and stories. Fishing became more sophisticated with tools like the harpoon, adding a new food source to our diet. Small game was important too, and we devised clever traps to catch it efficiently.
Body paint wasn't just decoration. It was expression, ritual, and a bold statement.
And then we started trading. Even back then, special goods traveled vast distances, connecting communities. Crafting tools became an art form, with incredible precision and skill going into every blade.
Our ancestors were keen observers, learning which plants could heal and soothe.
Spiritual beliefs started to emerge, giving us a deeper connection to the world around us. Water was always life, dictating where we settled and thrived.
Knowledge wasn't just passed down, it was taught, carefully guided from elder to youth.
Grinding stones revolutionized how we processed plants, opening up new food possibilities.
Our language grew more complex,
allowing for deeper conversations and understanding.
When storms hit, our shelters weren't just walls. They were cocoons of safety and warmth. Raising kids was a community effort, with everyone pitching in to nurture the next generation.
Even our tools started getting a bit fancy, proving we appreciated beauty in everything.
We followed the seasons, knowing when and where to find the best resources.
Turning raw hides into usable leather was a skill, providing us with durable clothing and shelter materials.
Our bond with dogs started early, a partnership that would change both our species forever.
With our canine companions, hunting became even more efficient and successful.
Even inside, fire was our ultimate comfort, chasing away the chill and darkness. We weren't just individual tribes, we started forming alliances, extending our reach and safety.
Loss was part of life, and we found ways to honor those we lost, a testament to our growing empathy. Our brains were still evolving, making us sharper, quicker, and more innovative. We could communicate so much more than ever before, truly sharing thoughts and ideas. Tackling challenges was easier together. Our unity was our strength. Then came the ultimate canvas, cave walls. Our stories and observations etched in stone. From powerful bison to graceful deer, we documented the wild world around us.
Even our everyday containers got a creative upgrade, turning simple gourds and bark into personalized pieces of art.
Every stroke held meaning, perhaps rituals, stories, or deep spiritual connections. Our fashion became functional, expertly tailored to brave any weather. Tiny bone needles made a huge difference, allowing us to create incredibly detailed and warm garments.
Our toolkit expanded dramatically, with a specific tool for almost every job imaginable.
Even on the move, a good fire was always our trusted companion, a beacon in the wilderness.
We even made tools to make tools. Talk about meta. Precision was becoming paramount.
Our communities grew, becoming bustling hubs of activity and innovation.
Skilled artisans were highly valued, their craftsmanship enriching all our lives.
Art wasn't always grand. Sometimes it was just a small, beautiful object, made for personal joy. We learned stealth, patience, and how to blend into our surroundings, becoming invisible hunters.
Healers and spiritual guides emerged, tending to both body and soul.
Even on the move, we had our home bases, places of return and rejuvenation. Tiny hooks meant we could catch even more fish, securing our food supply.
From strong ropes to handy baskets, plants gave us incredibly useful materials.
Good teeth were essential. They were our primary tools for processing food.
Our tools weren't just functional. They started showing signs of thoughtful design and even beauty.
We began marking our territories, leaving messages for others to understand. Keeping track of things, even with simple marks, showed our growing cognitive abilities. Fire became more than just a flame. It was a controllable force, our first real technology. Milestones in life were celebrated with rituals, marking our journey from childhood to adulthood. Even sleep became more comfortable, thanks to the warmth and softness of animal furs. Pooling our knowledge meant we could access resources that were otherwise out of reach. For those quick trips, simple, temporary shelters were all we needed. Nature often provided the perfect temporary homes, if you knew where to look. Shaping wood became easier with specialized tools, opening up new possibilities for construction and craft.
Our diet got even more diverse as we discovered more edible plants and how to prepare them.
Storing food meant we could plan for the future, knowing sustenance was secure.
Rest was crucial. It powered our bodies and minds for the challenges ahead.
Even back then, keeping our living spaces clean and healthy was surprisingly important.
Carrying our stuff got easier with stronger bags and satchels, making travel smoother. Nature was our greatest teacher. Every creature, every plant held a lesson. Even our early footsteps left their mark, subtly reshaping the landscapes we inhabited. Natural glues became our secret weapon, making our tools stronger and more durable. Holes for decoration or utility? We figured out how to drill them with surprisingly simple tech. Sometimes, simple beauty in nature was enough to capture our attention. Staying clean wasn't just about looking good. It was about staying healthy in a challenging world.
Kids learned by playing, mimicking the world around them, and exploring their own imaginations.
Even in close-knit communities, a little quiet time was sometimes needed.
We started measuring things, not with rulers, but with our bodies, getting a sense of scale.
Our minds were libraries, storing centuries of wisdom passed down through memory.
As groups grew, so did our social structures, with different roles and responsibilities. Nature often provided the perfect temporary homes, if you knew where to look. Shaping wood became easier with specialized tools, opening up new possibilities for construction and craft.
Our diet got even more diverse as we discovered more edible plants and how to prepare them.
Storing food meant we could plan for the future, knowing sustenance was secure. Rest was crucial. It powered our bodies and minds for the challenges ahead.
Even back then, keeping our living spaces clean and healthy was surprisingly important.
Carrying our stuff got easier with stronger bags and satchels, making travel smoother.
Nature was our greatest teacher. Every creature, every plant held a lesson. Even our early footsteps left their mark, subtly reshaping the landscapes we inhabited. Natural glues became our secret weapon, making our tools stronger and more durable. Holes for decoration or utility? We figured out how to drill them with surprisingly simple tech. Sometimes, simple beauty in nature was enough to capture our attention. Family was our core, the bedrock of our growing societies. Staying clean wasn't just about looking good. It was about staying healthy in a challenging world.
Kids learned by playing, mimicking the world around them, and exploring their own imaginations.
Even in close-knit communities, a little quiet time was sometimes needed.
We started measuring things, not with rulers, but with our bodies, getting a sense of scale.
Our minds were libraries, storing centuries of wisdom passed down through memory.
As groups grew, so did our social structures, with different roles and responsibilities.
When storms hit, our shelters weren't just walls. They were cocoons of safety and warmth. Suddenly, everyone had a role, contributing to the tribe in their own unique way.
Learning to preserve food was a game changer, ensuring we had something to eat even when hunting was tough.
And just like that, little neighborhoods started popping up Nivertet, proof that we loved being together.
Our tools got better too, making everything from building to cooking a whole lot more efficient. Beyond survival, we began creating things just because they were beautiful, tapping into our inner artists.
These tiny treasures weren't just pretty. They were symbols, stories, and a peek into our developing minds.
Hunting became a team sport, requiring serious strategy and seamless cooperation.
We started understanding our environment better, marking territories, and knowing where to find what we needed.
New tools like the atlatl gave us an edge, making our hunting incredibly more effective. Fire wasn't just for warmth. It was our ultimate multi-tool, helping us craft and prepare. Adorning ourselves became important, a way to express identity and status. Our wanderlust took us to new lands, proving just how adaptable we truly were. Facing the cold was tough, but we learned to dress smart and keep each other warm. Navigating by stars and landmarks, we were the original explorers, pushing boundaries with every step. Imagine seeing a woolly mammoth. Our ancestors lived alongside these giants, a truly wild world.
Stories weren't just entertainment. They were our textbooks, passing down vital knowledge through generations.
Rhythm and sound brought us together, probably for celebration or just to feel connected.
Mealtimes were communal, a chance to share not just food, but laughter and stories.
Fishing became more sophisticated with tools like the harpoon, adding a new food source to our diet.
Small game was important too, and we devised clever traps to catch it efficiently.
Body paint wasn't just decoration. It was expression, ritual, and a bold statement.
And then, we started trading. Even back then, special goods traveled vast distances, connecting communities.
Crafting tools became an art form, with incredible precision and skill going into every blade.
Our ancestors were keen observers, learning which plants could heal and soothe.
Spiritual beliefs started to emerge, giving us a deeper connection to the world around us. Knowledge wasn't just passed down, it was taught, carefully guided from elder to youth.
Grinding stones revolutionized how we processed plants, opening up new food possibilities.
Our language grew more complex,
allowing for deeper conversations and
understanding. Raising kids was a community effort, with everyone pitching in to nurture the next generation.
Even our tools started getting a bit fancy, proving we appreciated beauty in everything.
We followed the seasons, knowing when and where to find the best resources. Turning raw hides into usable leather was a skill, providing us with durable clothing and shelter materials. Our bond with dogs started early, a partnership that would change both our species forever. With our canine companions, hunting became even more efficient and successful.
Even inside, fire was our ultimate comfort, chasing away the chill and darkness.
While hunting was crucial, gathering plants ensured we always had a varied and nutritious diet.
We weren't just individual tribes. We started forming alliances, extending our reach and safety. Loss was part of life, and we found ways to honor those we lost, a testament to our growing empathy.
Our brains were still evolving, making us sharper, quicker, and more innovative.
We could communicate so much more than ever before.
Truly sharing thoughts and ideas.
Tackling challenges was easier together. Our unity was our strength. Then came the ultimate canvas, cave walls. Our stories and observations etched in stone.
From powerful bison to graceful deer, we documented the wild world around us.
These weren't just pictures. They were shared experiences, connecting us to our beliefs and each other.
Every stroke held meaning, perhaps rituals, stories, or deep spiritual connections.
Our fashion became functional, expertly tailored to brave any weather.
Tiny bone needles made a huge difference, allowing us to create incredibly detailed and warm garments. Tiny bone needles made a huge difference, allowing us to create incredibly detailed and warm garments.
Our toolkit expanded dramatically, with a specific tool for almost every job imaginable. Our toolkit expanded dramatically, with a specific tool for almost every job imaginable. Even on the move, a good fire was always our trusted companion, a beacon in the wilderness. We even made tools to make tools current. Talk about meta. Precision was becoming paramount.
Our communities grew, becoming bustling hubs of activity and innovation.
Skilled artisans were highly valued, their craftsmanship enriching all our lives. Art wasn't always grand. Sometimes it was just a small, beautiful object, made for personal joy. We learned stealth, patience, and how to blend into our surroundings, becoming invisible hunters.
Healers and spiritual guides emerged, tending to both body and soul.
Even on the move, we had our home bases, places of return and rejuvenation.
Tiny hooks meant we could catch even more fish, securing our food supply.
From strong ropes to handy baskets, plants gave us incredibly useful materials.
Our tools weren't just functional. They started showing signs of thoughtful design and even beauty. We began marking our territories, leaving messages for others to understand. Keeping track of things, even with simple marks, showed our growing cognitive abilities. Fire became more than just a flame. It was a controllable force, our first real technology. Fire became more than just a flame. It was a controllable force, our first real technology. Milestones in life were celebrated with rituals, marking our journey from childhood to adulthood. Even sleep became more comfortable, thanks to the warmth and softness of animal furs. Pooling our knowledge meant we could access resources that were otherwise out of reach.
For those quick trips, simple, temporary shelters were all we needed.
And then, a revolutionary idea. Instead of just gathering, we started planting, shaping our own food supply. Tiny sprouts, but enormous potential. The first whispers of a farming revolution.
From constantly moving, we started putting down roots, literally, as farming changed everything.
Animals joined our journey, becoming partners in food and resources.
Farming brought new tools, simple but incredibly effective for taming the land.
Our homes became stronger, more permanent, true foundations for settled life. With more food came more people, and our villages blossomed into vibrant communities. Clay became our canvas, transforming into pots for cooking and storing our harvest.
Fire hardened our clay creations, making them durable enough for daily life.
Surplus food was our insurance, a buffer against lean times, and a valuable trade commodity.
As life became more settled, so did our roles, leading to specialized crafts and skills. Suddenly, we weren't just wearing skins, we were weaving fabrics, crafting comfortable clothes.
With larger communities came new challenges, requiring leaders and rules to guide us.
Communal granaries meant everyone contributed, and everyone benefited from shared resources.
Our homes became canvases, decorated with art that reflected our growing sense of identity and belonging. The rhythm of the seasons dictated our lives, a constant cycle of planting, growing, and harvesting. Spiritual beliefs deepened, giving rise to sacred spaces and shared rituals. Controlling water was key. Simple irrigation systems transformed dry land into fertile fields. Villages grew into towns, centers of trade, innovation, and ever-increasing populations. Protection became necessary. Walls and defenses arose to safeguard our burgeoning communities. And then, metal. The discovery of copper sparked a whole new age of tools and technology. From humble beginnings, we had built civilizations, a testament to our incredible journey of evolution.